The bottom line here is it's all of this nonsense about Mason Rudolph. It's all based in fiction. It's all based in some land and time that does not exist anymore and hasn't for a long, long time. If Mason Rudolph, and that brings me to the second part where people say, well, if they have Mason Rudolph, they're going to go 2-15, which is what Ryan Clark is essentially saying. Well, I mean, they're going to just be a bad team. They're not even going to contend. Guess what? Guess what, Ryan? They haven't contended for a long time. Well, they're going to go into the dark ages after Ben. Well, let's see. In 1994, they played in the AFC title game. In 1995, they played in the Super Bowl. What was it? Was it a couple years later with Cordell? They played and they lost to Denver in the AFC title game. I think it was about 98 or so, something like that. 2001. They played in the AFC title game. I think with Cordell again against the Patriots. Guess what? That's like that's at least 4 AFC title games in a Super Bowl that I can think of in a 10-year span. Guess what? They didn't do that the last 10 years. So stop with all of this. Mason Rudolph played a couple of years ago with Duck. Him and Duck primarily played. They were 8-6 with those two guys. So whenever you think about Mason Rudolph, the idea that they're going to go 2-15 if he plays is just flat out stupid. And it's also more and more annoying. The Ryan Clarks of the world who can't accept the idea or can't accept the fact that the Steelers he wants to wax poetic about don't exist anymore. You're not the model franchise anymore. You're not the franchise everybody wants to be. In many ways, you're a franchise that's stuck in a time and place 20 years ago that needs to get up to modern times and start to learn how modern-day football teams do things that want to try and win. Kevin Colbert basically even said as much the other day. Maybe it's not a bad idea to get somebody from the outside with new ideas and maybe change some of the things that we do and some of the ways we do things. Yeah! If you have Mason Rudolph, or if you bring in Jimmy Garoppolo, now we're the Steelers again. You're damn right you're the Steelers again. You're going to a team that's going to be 8 or 9 win team that's going to, if backdoor your way into the playoffs and get pounded by whoever you play again. So yeah, you'll be the Steelers again. If you get Jimmy Garoppolo instead of Mason Rudolph. As Jeff Hathorn just said, and I agree with him, the difference between Mason Rudolph and Jimmy Garoppolo is you don't have to give up $25 million, or you don't have to give up 2 or 3 draft picks and $25 million to get Mason Rudolph. That's the difference. But the stupid takes from people about these things, and again, it's the offseason, I get it. We're all trying to be hot take guys or whatever. I get it. But at some point, you have to have some semblance of sense. Some semblance you're based in reality and not based in some nonsensical pie-in-the-sky pipe dream crapola when it comes to what the Steelers are and what they have been for the last decade. Oh, but they win, but they haven't had a losing season. Who gives a hell? So if they were 7-9 one of those 8-8 years, who cares? The best thing that could have happened for this year's team, do you know what? You know the best thing that could have happened for this year's team, for Steelers fans, is that Indianapolis found a way to beat Jacksonville, or the kid from the Raiders missed a field goal at the end there. And then the Steelers would have missed the playoffs, and we could have spent the whole offseason with all these same goofballs saying, well, everybody was afraid of the Steelers. They're lucky the Steelers didn't get in the playoffs. Oh, if they'd have gotten the playoffs, oh, boy, they were going to make a run. Oh, yeah. T.J. Watt was going to have 19 sacks. Big Ben, his last run, we were going to the Super Bowl. The whole league is happy we were out of the playoffs. That's what we would be hearing right now if that would have happened. So in some ways, I'm kind of glad that Jacksonville or that the Colts choked, and that the week before that or whatever it was, the Chargers blew it against the Texans, and that the Raiders missed the field or made the field goal. So the Steelers went to the playoffs, and we all got to see what they actually are. But please stop. They haven't been that team or that franchise for quite some time. They're a team that wins some regular season games and gets, to the playoffs and they fight to the end and make sure that they finish 8-8 and 9 or 8-8 or better. And instead of, being one of those evil teams that's 5-12. As I always say, look at the Eagles' last 4 years and look at the Steelers' last 4 years and tell me what you would, or last 4 or 5, whatever it is, and tell me what you'd rather do. Be a team that had won a Super Bowl but has a losing season, or a team that had a bunch of mediocre seasons strung together and didn't win a Super Bowl.